A little while ago, Nintendo added a feature to the Switch where you can sort the games you have by a certain number of criteria. You can sort them by publisher, you can sort them by name. Most notably for this particular video, you can sort them by time played. So I did so, and looked at it, and it's like, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild #1, that makes a lot of sense, it's one of the greatest games of all time. Splatoon 2, #2, also makes a lot of sense. It's a game that matches my skill level because you can do well by shooting the floor. In fact, that's actually a primary goal. My kind of video game. #3, Fortnite. And then I was like, huh? I've played Fortnite more than, say, Pokemon Let's Go, and Dead Cells, and Super Mario Odyssey? That can't be right. So I went to the menu, I loaded up Fortnite, and there it is. I played Fortnite for 80 hours. 80! That was a great shock to me, because if you had asked me before they added that feature, I'd have been like, I've dabbled, I played it a little bit, but I didn't really get into it. I just dipped in to see why it's the biggest game in the world and people are obsessed with it, you know. But as it turns out, I have played it more than nearly any other Switch game. Only less than 2 other Switch games, in fact. And this was most confusing to me, because if you had asked me, again, before this feature was added, did I like Fortnite? The answer would be not particularly. I think it's a game with satisfying gunplay, but not much else. The building is cumbersome and just makes the end of games just spamming up walls. It's nonsense. The game is admirable in the degree to which it's updated, but it's just not particularly interesting to play. You play a couple rounds, it's Fortnite, you understand what it is, and you move on to your life to games that give you a more complete gameplay experience, that takes you on a journey as opposed to just the same 10-minute give or take chunk over and over and over and over again. Less because it's me, because I die all the time. I'm not very good at Fortnite either. I'm not good at any online multiplayer game. I've won 1 round of Fortnite. I have 1 Battle Royale victory when I lagged my way through most of the game, and I think I killed the final person by accident. So the solution is to be bad at games and rely on your terrible internet connection to guide you through it. So I figured I'd devote a video to trying to work out exactly why I played 80 hours of Fortnite despite not really liking it. That's a difficult task, a task to which there is no good answer. Maybe the answer is just I'm stupid. That is a good, I don't know, probably 65% of it. But let's try and work out what the other 35% of it is. As in my head, I just made sure that the maths was right there, because I'm stupid, as I just reiterated. The big reason I think Fortnite is so easy to play a lot without you thinking you've played it a lot is because there's just no investment involved. It's the easy, mindless game. When I booted up my Switch, I assume for the, whatever, 6 months, I think I deleted Fortnite eventually because I realized this was a problem. But when I was playing Fortnite consistently, it's the easy game when you look at the home menu on your video game console, whatever it happens to be. I played it a lot on Switch. It's the easy option. You see Fortnite, you're like, I can pop in, I can play a game in 10-15 minutes, I can get back out. I don't have to commit time or commit effort or commit mental energy to either learning a new game, learning the mechanics of a new game, or actually being challenged by something. It's very easy to open up Fortnite, play it, and put it down without ever actually gaining or losing anything. You're on autopilot. It's an easy game to play without putting in any effort. I honestly feel bad for the generation that's growing up with Fortnite, because that's a terrible way to play games. There's no stakes. You play, you die, you play again. If you die, even if you win, how does that change the next game? It doesn't really. You just do the same thing again, and even if you get better at the game, even if you win more often, what do you gain from it? There is cosmetics and stuff like that, but it doesn't challenge you. It doesn't reward you for getting better. It's not like you come across a challenge, you come across an obstacle that requires you to improve at the game, to learn something new, to actually think about what you're doing, and then you move on to something else that challenges you in a similar way, using what you learned earlier in the game to build on it and actually create a satisfying long-term gameplay experience. Fortnite, as I said, you go in, you play a game, you win, or you lose. For me, you lose a great deal more often than you win, but you don't actually do anything. It doesn't challenge you, it doesn't ask anything of you, it never requires you to get better, it never truly punishes you for being bad, because you just bounce right straight into another game. It just goes on. And that's such an easy game to play because it doesn't challenge me mentally, so if I'm just like, oh, I want to play a game, Fortnite will do. But it's an extremely hollow experience. If it's the kind of video game experience I grew up playing, I'd feel bad that I missed so many games. The 80 hours I put into Fortnite, I could play I don't know, 8 indie games? And it's kind of sad when I think about it like that. I could play 8 interesting experiences that try something new with video games and try to do something new within the genre, or new mechanically, or new from a story perspective. But instead, I've just spent that time playing Fortnite. And it's kind of sad. I've made myself sad making this video. I hope that makes you happy. The other thing I think that cannot be stressed enough is the true genius of Fortnite is not the video game. Fair enough, it's a battle royale game that like most of the mechanics of Fortnite were taken from other games. Everyone's accepted that at this stage. The true genius of Fortnite is everything that encourages you to play that game, because there's the battle pass and then the free unlockables, and the free unlockables usually kind of guide you slowly over time toward the battle pass, because they eventually run out, so you're playing the game for literally nothing at that stage, and then you're like, I might as well get the battle pass. But the way that game works, with daily challenges and weekly challenges and seasons and unlockables and cosmetics and emotes and dances, everything about that game encourages you to play that game more. Everything about that ecosystem feeds you back in. Here's another challenge, here's another thing to do, here's another update. We've changed the map, we've added a new mode, and like that is undeniably genius. If you look at that video game model, the game is free. I personally bought the battle pass twice, so I put about 20 bucks into that game. And in theory, putting 20 bucks into a game and getting 80 hours back out should be a relatively fair exchange. You know, that's not unreasonable. My value for money there is fairly solid, but the game is free, so I feel like it's defeated me. The game has conquered me by getting me to pay money, and I'm like, God, I've fallen for their Fortnite traps. That's the way the game's designed, and even if you play the game long enough, you'll make enough V-Bucks to get the battle pass for next season for nothing. So like the true goal is to play a season long enough so that you build up enough fake money to buy their battle pass without having to invest real money, which encourages you to play the game all the time, over and over and over again, until you eventually never play another game again. And like, think of that compared to a game like, I don't know, Celeste. Celeste is a very good 2D platformer, it's a very hard 2D platformer, but that game rewards you for learning. You get better at the mechanics, you understand the level design, and you improve and you overcome obstacles, and then there's another obstacle in front of you. And Fortnite, you just play it, and you die, and you play again, and you go back in, and maybe you jump to a different mode, but even in that mode, all you're doing is just unlocking things for other people to look at, which is like, alright, that's fine, I guess, but that's really not a video game experience I want to have. I don't think it's a particularly good video game experience. It's an easy video game experience, and not in the sense that the game is easy, it's just easy on you. It's like a video game experience that doesn't challenge you or push you to do anything. That's a big reason why I did eventually delete Fortnite from my Switch, because I realized I just wasn't playing other games. Fortnite made me lazy, and it's weird to think about being lazy while playing video games, but that's how Fortnite made me, and it's a very strange thing. I felt the need to make a video about this because I think Fortnite gets a hard time just because of how popular it is. It's insanely popular because it's free, and young people can play it because they can download it without having to pay any money. And then eventually they do pay money because that's the whole monetization system, and then Epic is rolling in money. But it gets a hard time because literally every young person on Earth knows what Fortnite is and plays Fortnite far more than they ever should. So me, being a very smart and mature video game player, somehow being dragged into this dumb Fortnite game for 80 hours. As I said, 80 hours. There's a lot of games that I love and adore that I have not even come close to playing for 80 hours. And yet there's Fortnite. So if I was sucked in, I wanted to think about what about this game sucks people in. And I really do think it comes down to that. It doesn't ask anything of you. It's easy to play Fortnite. It's easy to just turn your brain off and play a round of a game where you know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to drop into the map, you're going to find loot, you're going to come across players. Either you kill them or they kill you, and then you win the game. Same thing every time. Rinse and repeat. No variety, no obstacles, nothing that makes you have to come up with a new way of doing something. It's easy. And it is truly a little sad that that's the predominant video game experience a lot of people are having these days. Because there is so much to the world of games. Go out there and try and experience them. Even if it means choosing the more difficult option on your video game console home menu. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like there is probably an irony in there somewhere about me re-downloading and playing Fortnite in order to make a video about me moaning about playing too much Fortnite, but alas, if you ever see me playing Fortnite again, you have permission to hit me in the head with a hammer. I probably shouldn't say that on the internet. On your left, a review of Cadence of Hyrule, and on your right, my most anticipated games coming out of E3 2019. As always, thanks for watching.